A few ideas as to why, and I know Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul has an idea of why as well. He joins us now, Senator. You know, we got to go back 20 years when we finally Fauci denying. You know what he did? He faced Fauci. Fauci faced Fauci.
Here's the interesting thing is you can go back to the times of George Washington. So George Washington didn't want his wife, Martha, to come to the camps unless she was vaccinated for smallpox. But George himself, he didn't get vaccinated. Why? Because he had pox on his face from getting smallpox when he was 15 years old in Barbados. And even George Washington, everybody knew, it was common knowledge. If you had smallpox, you didn't get it again. We've known this for a long time. Now, we've known it's not always absolute. You know, you sometimes get partial immunity, but we've known if you get it that season, you're not getting it again. And interestingly, not only is the flu a good way to be immunized, albeit if you survive the flu. So we're not saying you want to get the disease, but have you had it, you have immunity. But the interesting thing is, see, the flu vaccine each year, sometimes the flu vaccine, the guess is wrong, and the flu vaccine doesn't work at all. So sometimes it's directed towards a different flu. But if you've gotten the flu that year, you've definitely been inoculated in some ways way better than the vaccine ever could have been, but sometimes 100% better because the vaccine's not effective that season.
You know, Senator, we on this show, and you and I have talked about it, I've talked about it with countless others, that when you follow the money, you tend to get an idea of what's really behind some of the policy. Now, Fauci went from, if the best way to guard against infectious disease is by being infected once before, and that's what you had. I remember those fights you had with him in Senate hearing panels about whether or not having natural immunity was good enough. He'd say no and no and no. Is this about money, you think, for him?
Well, there's a real question, and I've wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not personally, being financially enriched by this, but some people are. So, for example, when the CEO of Pfizer tells you need a fourth or a fifth vaccine, we should discount him completely because he's motivated by monetary interest. He's not a disinterested participant in the debate. But the thing is that, you know, we need to always question the motivations of people. We need to question why he completely discounts natural immunity now. But we've also seen a darker side of Dr. Fauci. We've seen that if you are a scientist and you disagree with him, my goodness, the hammer comes down. They will take you down. Those are the words of Dr. Collins. We will take down these scientists from Harvard, Oxford, Stanford. So there is a darker side to this. And I think as people become more aware of how much he's covered up the origins of this virus, how much he's covered up his responsibility in funding the lab in Wuhan. I mean, there is a darker side that's going to come out on Dr. Fauci.
I'm dying to find out about that, you know, the origin, the lab leak theory that he quashed, called it quackery. But Senator, you tweeted this. You said, I'm quoting you, how did EcoHealth Alliance convince Fauci to give them over $100 million? Well, an invitation to the Cosmos Club. And so tell us a little bit about that, sir. It's a lot of money. What's going on there?
This is also part of the darker side of how funding goes on. So he dispenses $5 billion worth of dollars for research. And you'd think, well, that's just based on scientific merit, right? Well, the EcoHealth Alliance got $100 million. And how did they get their money? Or how did they get more of it? They thought maybe wining and dining people like Dr. Fauci and people who make decisions on research grants at the Cosmos Club might be a way to do it. And then when he was told by one of Dr. Fauci's staffers, oh, it's hard to get him to go to these wine and cheese parties, they said, but if there's ABC, NBC, and CBS there, you're more likely to get him. This is from one of Dr. Fauci's staff saying this. And so, yeah, it shows you that maybe science isn't about science, but it's also about wine, cheese, and it's also about people, you know, greasing the skids with cocktail parties.
It is the ugliest, dark, ominous underbelly of Washington, D.C. politics at its absolute worst. I wrote a book about this stuff. The Swamp, it's called. And Senator Rand Paul, always good having you on. Thank you for your time, sir. Very busy man.